I think he's just free to roam right now, actually. And then he just runs back in. Good job. Good job. Alright. He knows too much. Oh my. That was not the thing I expected to see right now. Ooh. Oh. Do we take him on? Okay, so just gotta remember the apple. I got okay armor. I have sword. What you want to do is try to hit them and dodge. Let's see if we can do it. There he is right there. So shield. Remember your bubbles too. Luckily I am getting him caught on things. There we go. Nice. We did not get the trident though. I would not recommend trying that. Unless you play on other worlds and practice often enough on trying to attack them. Without practice, I would say not to. I so wish I could just grab one of these. Oh. Alright. Kinda just need that kid to grow up and then become... Oh, we got 2 now! Oh, that's perfect! I wonder if I put something like as close to them as I can, if that is like the more or most likely to become their job when they grow up. Because I need a farmer and I need a... You'd think by now in the episode I would remember what this thing is called. It's not a clergyman, it's not a cartographer, it's not a priest. It's... Look, here's your 2 job stations. That's your future right there, okay? Man, what is it called? A cleric, that's the name. Need a cleric. Just for good measure. I know that it's harder for them to choose a job station if they cannot reach it. So just in case they might be able to reach something else, I'm gonna make it so that these are the only things they can typically reach, because I don't think that their pathfinding skill takes water into account, so that should make them grow up into those 2. What I really should be doing is working on that farm, but I have to go quite a ways for that, and I really wanted to get this village kind of a little bit more set up before I made that farm, which pretty much just involves getting the cleric and the... I only need the farmer because I just have a ton of wheat to sell to them. That's about the only reason, really. And if the strawberries increase their output... Hey, can you not take a step further, please? I don't want to lose you like that. Thank you. So I think what I'm going to do is just tune back in when I have my villager set up the way that I want. I think I've done okay at explaining what I'm trying to go for, and then we will move on to making the monster farm. just a quick update here on what's been going on. I finally got myself some baby villagers, and I needed a guy who sold bookshelves because I need 15 of these for an enchantment table. And there we go, 15. That's all I need. He also has protection 4, which is pretty good, but I don't think I'm going to buy that just yet. I had to put up some fences because this guy kept deciding to jump off repeatedly over and over. He's been trying to slowly kill himself by just jumping off of this tiny cliff over and over, and so I had to put that up to stop him from hurting himself. Overall, I think I'm learning from this experience that villagers are maybe not worth working with because it's been so much work, so much time, so much effort, and I think if I just rinse and repeat my first few steps to get some diamonds, it might have been easier than this, honestly. But I enjoy... Ooh, that's a tough sentence to say. I enjoy working with them. I like that it's a new feature, and it is a lively feature to work with villagers and trade with them, build a little town and things like that. But after a while working with these idiots, oh man, I don't know how much more of this I can take. But I just needed the bookshelves so that I could get started on the enchantment room, which I think I'll just go ahead and time-lapse that because a lot of people know how to make the monster killing room already. And yeah, I think that was my update. I feel like there was something else I wanted to mention. I think it was in this fish trap over here. I did get another interesting book, which was Efficiency 4, and then a bow with Power 4 on it, which I think is interesting. And this bow has Infinity on it with Curse of Vanishing, which doesn't matter too much because if I were to die, it's not like I would lose the bow. I would just lose the whole world anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get to work on that. Second try this time. So I started this time lapse once already and made it about 10 minutes into without realizing it wasn't even recording my voice. Oh boy. So yes, to make the monster spawner EXP farm room, I decided that I was going to just time-lapse the whole thing and then speak over it so that I didn't have to worry about recording for like 2 hours straight and talking over each step. I think I'm still going to kind of cut through this a little bit. The full file for this was 1 hour and 36 minutes. And some of it is pretty tedious. I'm pretty sure a lot of people already know how to make these little grinder room things. I've kind of tweaked it to my own personal needs, but I'm still going to kind of go over what to do here. Most important with these rooms, they only spawn when you are within 16 blocks of them, so you have to remember to make your little killing chamber room very close to this room. That's the main thing that I messed up a lot in the past, was I would make it too far away. That includes up and down. So I would like send them to the surface and just try and have room up there to kill the monsters at, but it was too far away from the spawner cage, so it wouldn't even spawn anything. First, what you want to do is you come into this room, light it all up, light it really good, because as you dig away the room, it's going to spawn more monsters, so you just have to make sure you have plenty of torches. You want to start from the spawner cage and dig out by 4 blocks in every direction. I don't think you really have to worry so much about the roof, and when you dig down, I usually just dig down by 3. It's mostly the X and Y coordinates that you want to worry about going out by 4 blocks. And if you are interested in the cobblestone in the area, just bring a chest because you are going to get quite a bit of it. And I am never really much of a fan of cobblestone generators, so I just try and keep cobblestone blocks whenever I can because I always wind up needing them for something. Especially when I make the actual like tunnels that the monsters are going to be traveling through. If they don't have to be dug out but have to be built instead, I always find myself running out of stone, so just keeping it from this step is an easy way to make sure you have enough for that. Typically, you don't necessarily even have to go out in 4 blocks in every direction when you build something like this. That is the space that the spawn cage can initiate spawns, and the if you have that maximum space, it just makes the thing a little bit more efficient, but it's not super important to maximize the space like this. I have been getting impatient in this Let's Play a little bit, because this is only like my second time trying to do hardcore with villagers, and I'm enjoying it because they add life to the world, and it's really fun to trade with them, especially with my little texture pack where I have little coins to trade with them and whatnot, and it's kind of fun to see what sort of things they want and try and go out in the world and collect them and trade with them for money to get these good items from them. But I gotta say, putting up with villagers has been quite a nuisance. Otherwise, they keep jumping off of cliffs and killing themselves, and they don't go to sleep at night like they're supposed to, get mauled by zombies, and they just get into the weirdest places. They stop trading. So, like, originally I thought, like, oh, they're pretty safe on their own. I got a ton of iron golems nearby. It's gonna be okay. But they wander off so far, so I can't use their trades unless I corral them back with like a boat or try and break their stand and bring it to them. Every now and then I would see my armorer jump off a cliff. It wasn't even a very high cliff, it was like 8 blocks. And I would see him take damage, but I thought like, oh, that hurt him a little bit. That's kind of stupid, but you know, these guys probably regenerate over time, don't they? Apparently not, because after about his 30th or 40th time of jumping off that tiny cliff, he finally died. And I had to go and reset all of his trades again, which added even more time to this little Let's Play, having to get all those emeralds again and buy all that armor. I started taking like produce and crops over to the next village just so I could try and sell things a little bit more. I forgot I wasn't even explaining what was on screen here. So the thing that I changed about these farms is that I want them to funnel into the middle, because they all kind of clog up the one space if you send them to one side. And so from the spawner cage block, I dug out 8 blocks in each direction away from it and put water down so that it would flow just enough to not be on that center block in the middle. And then just by pure luck, putting water in the corners filled it up perfectly to where the spot in the middle was empty. And then I go down about 3 or 4 blocks and just kind of continue the little water path as usual, sending it over about 10 blocks or so, and then making the little chamber that picks them up and then drops them back down. That's pretty much the main change that I did there. And I just made a little tiny infinite water source to make sure I had enough water to do it all. Hope it made sense in the video, because I wasn't explaining it well enough here. I was getting distracted talking about my distaste for villagers. But yeah, I had to start going to other villages in the nearby area, stealing all their pumpkins and crops and stuff and selling it to them, just because my guys would max out their trades, or I couldn't find them, or I think I had 2 farmers die, I had the fisherman die, and I think I had a cleric die, as well as the armor. And so I've blocked off that cliff so no one can jump off it anymore. I've got a few of them locked up in a house now, and I set up a bunch of workstations in the center of town so that I kind of know that they're all going to kind of congregate to that one area. But if you try and use this method in your world, just seriously lock these guys up. I know that it seems kind of sad to stick them in like a 2x1 area that they can't move around in. Seems inhumane and unfriendly, but no, they cannot be trusted with their own safety. That is the only way to go. Here you see me happen to come across a wandering trading villager, whatever these guys' names are. I should just give him a name. And for once, he actually had something that I needed. It might actually be the first time ever he had something I needed, which was ice. Because when you are trying to push monsters along the little paths, they, for some reason right now, fight the currents. And it is very aggravating and really slows down the spawn room, you know, just the efficiency of it all. What I should have done is get enough ice for the whole thing, but this guy was selling them for like 6 emeralds a piece, so I could only afford just a few where the water streams end. And so first my idea was like, oh no, you know, I dumped everything I had back at home, so I would have pack space for making this thing, and I left my emeralds there. But that's okay, there's a village right next door. I can make money at this village and then buy it just like that. So I went through and jacked all their pumpkins. Some sort of jack-o'-lantern joke in there somewhere. But then I realized that the pumpkin trade is not a tier 1 trade, so none of these guys were going to trade me pumpkins, so I wound up having to go back home anyway to get the money, and I made a good profit off of those pumpkins, but this was a bit of a waste of time, essentially. But no, these villagers, like, it's really important to just lock them up. It seems sad, but I wanted to have them walking around the town to add that little sense of life in the world and just a little bit of happiness, but I really should have just locked them up because it's been a few extra hours that I've had to work on this because of it. So lock up your villagers, guys, or try and give them little houses that they can't get out of. I really should just make it so they can't get out of their house and try and make their living space as nice as I can, but... And then maybe have a few designated, like, outside villagers that I don't care about, but the main ones with professions, try and lock them up. And, interesting thing about these villagers, my wife was the one who actually got me interested in trading with them, because usually I just ignored trading with villagers and would go mining on my own. And she built a world, and I taught her how you can cure a zombie, and he will give you like super big discounts on it, because Phil in his hardcore Let's Plays, he does that all the time. And when I taught her that, she saved a villager and made him a little house, and then just kind of kept doing that, and then started breeding with them, and she would build custom houses for each one, and soon enough we had a little town going. And she was looking into all the trades and what they gave, and taught me that you can get full sets of diamond armor, diamond tools, and weapons, all enchanted and everything from doing this. And so that got me interested in trading with them, and then we wanted to try Skyblock, because obviously everyone knows that PewDiePie is playing Minecraft a lot right now, and it's kind of funny to watch. He was doing some Skyblock, and they were having a lot of trouble with it, and so my wife's like, hey, how can we play this? Because I could do way better than that. And so we figured out how to do a Skyblock thing. And on one of the islands there's 2 villagers, and I don't know a whole lot about Skyblock, but I don't know if this was intended for a different use, but she bred the villagers, and we actually made our own little town on Skyblock and traded everything with them. And so it was really cool just having full sets of enchanted armor in Skyblock to fight the dragon with. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do or not, but I just thought it was really cool. And so then that kind of inspired me to come and do this little series where it's like, hey, let's do hardcore and let's make it safer by trading with villagers instead of going caving. Looking back on it now, I really kind of wish I would have just gone caving instead, but this is an option. It's less risky, but it just takes a little bit longer. So yeah, I guess that's about all I had to say on the matter. If you don't know how to do the little bubble column thing, again, I probably should have been keeping up with what's going on screen instead of rambling on. You have to make the little column. You can have them go up as much as you want, but they have to fall. I think it's like 22 blocks or something around that range. I don't really like trying to get it so exactly perfect that I can punch them to death with one punch. I don't mind using a sword. It's not that big a deal. So around 22 blocks or so. If you have scaffolding, you can use that to count the spaces really easy just by holding 22 scaffolding in your inventory and set it down. It's kind of cool. Then once you have the space, you fill it all up with water. You can just dump one bucket at the top and then put dirt at the bottom and fill it up with kelp, because that'll turn all the blocks into source blocks. And then just take out the kelp and remove the dirt and put the soul sand down, which is like, I want to say like 90%, but maybe like 50%. The reason why I go to the nether is just to get 1 block of soul sand just to do this. And that'll shoot them up the way here, and then you scoot them across a little bit, and they have to fall about 22 blocks or so. I have them land on a slab with a hopper underneath it to gather the drops. And then gotta remember that the the space that you are going to be standing to kill them at, you want that to be within 16 blocks of the spawning cage for maximum efficiency. It can be fun to build them in other ways, but it's sad having to go stand in weird parts of the room to get them to spawn, run over, go kill them, then go stand in a random corner again. It's not fun. I've done that. My cat is getting louder and louder. I'm sorry if you can hear him. It was kind of funny that another thing that I forgot at home was the iron, and because the spawner is further away from home than usual, I didn't have a hopper or the iron to make it, and just in that room I happened to find pretty much just enough to make a hopper. I think I had to use the one chest that I had, and I didn't have enough wood to make another chest, but a hopper does have like 5 spaces, so it worked for now. And at this point we're getting pretty close to being done. I do enjoy bringing glass along so that I can make the little bubble columns that go up visible from the killing room. It's not necessary to do that, but it helps me know pretty well that, like, hey, the spawner is working, and hey, here comes a bunch of them, so get ready. And it's just really hilarious to watch them do that. If you get bored in the room, because you're going to be spending some time in here if you're going to be doing a lot of enchanting. If you get bored, it's pretty hilarious to watch them just kind of zoop up the little bubble column. I think also looking back on this and how long it's taken me to get this set of enchanted armor, I'm actually not going to try too hard to get like the best enchantments that I can, because realistically I think you can complete the dragon fight, which is kind of my definition, is like the dragon fight and getting an elytra. That's kind of my definition of beating a world. I always have a hard time knowing what to do after that point. But yeah, fighting the dragon isn't something that requires a lot of armor. Pretty much if you just get like a full set of iron armor, which is pretty easy, and then enchant your boots with Feather Falling 4, you're good to go. That's about all you need. And I kind of wish I would have taken that more seriously. I felt like I needed to include in this tutorial how to really maximize your armor, just in case you wanted to do other things that was going to be more dangerous. I thought that I would show you how to get the good armor. But if you are like me and mostly just interested in the dragon fight, just Feather Falling, that's about all you need. I suppose after that, and then going into the end and trying to go through the end fortresses, the armor's more important at that point. So maybe you might disregard everything that I just said if you are wanting to go to raid end dungeons and whatnot. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to cut it off there until the next episode, which will be up real soon.